President tasked INEC on credible Osun poll. Oyo acting governor calls for implementation of child protection laws. On the foreign scene, 7 killed in India hydropower tunnel accident. Good evening and thank you for joining us on News Around the World. Here on BCOS television, I am Idowu Shekoni. The sign language interpreter is Korede Oluleye. President Tinubu has called on the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and the security agencies to ensure a peaceful and transparent election in Osun State. The people of Osun State will go to the polls on Saturday, August 15, 2026, to elect their governor in an election where 15 candidates are contested. President Tinubu also charged the electorate in Osun State to come out to discharge their civic responsibility and eschew any act that could disrupt the peaceful conduct of the election while assuring the people of their safety before and after the polls. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Police Force has announced a total lockdown of Osun State from midnight today, restricting all movement as security agencies finalize deployment for Saturday's governorship election. Force Public Relations Officer, FPRO, CSP Ani Niedu, discloses today during a briefing at the Osun State Police Command Headquarters, Osogbo, where he gave an update on security deployment across the state's 30 local government areas. Niedu said air surveillance units, including helicopters and drones, had commenced patrols across the state, alongside a police mobile force unit deployed to each local government area under the command of an assistant commissioner of police serving as squadron commander. Iniedu maintained that the police remained neutral in the election, stating that their constitutional mandate was the protection of life and property. He appealed to parents to prevent their underage children from participating in voting or electoral violence, urging voters to turn out in large numbers, assuring them of adequate security. With the 2027 general elections drawing closer, moves by opposition politicians to form a formidable coalition are gathering momentum amid debates over the leadership, unity, and ability to challenge the ruling party. Some political analysts believe a united opposition could provide Nigerians with a stronger alternative, while others say the success of such an alliance will depend largely on the willingness of its leaders to sacrifice personal ambition for the collective interest. Our reporter, Fedora Falagboye, who monitored the discussion on the topic, 2027 and Opposition Coalition on the BCOS Current Affairs Breakfast Program, AM 120, reports.
As preparations intensify for the 2027 general elections, Nigeria's political space is witnessing renewed efforts by opposition figures and parties to forge a common front against the ruling party. But beyond the formation of a coalition, questions remain over who will lead the alliance, how the interests of different political groups will be reconciled, and whether the opposition can remain united until election day. Speaking on BCOS M120, public affairs analyst Comrade Kende Ojoawo said the opposition has the capacity to come together and mount a serious challenge in 2027. He however stressed that the coalition must go beyond political calculations, with its leaders willing to shelve personal ambitions and interests in the larger
of the political graduates without that party
Also on the program, political analyst Honorable Josiah Olufemi noted that opposition coalitions are not new to Nigeria's democratic experience, describing the current move as a potentially significant step towards providing a stronger political alternative in 2027. He called on opposition leaders to make the welfare, security, and development of Nigerians their priority, insisting that genuine unity and a clearly defined agenda could be critical to the success of the coalition.
To ask question, are we making the right decision? But most often than not, are the people even the ones making that decisions? Or the gatekeepers will just tell them this is where we are going?
The analyst also expressed optimism that Nigerians could experience better economic fortunes if there is a change of leadership and the new leader decided to run people-oriented administration. They, however, urge Nigerians to look beyond ethnicity, religion, and political sentiment when making their choices at the polls. Both guests called for greater voter participation in the 2027 elections, urging Nigerians to judge political parties and candidates based on competence, performance, credibility, and their capacity to deliver good governance. Fidora Afolagwe, BCOS News.
As Nigeria prepares for the 2027 general elections, journalists have been election violence and unnecessary tension. The call was made by the trio of the Ondo State President Electoral Commissioner, Dr. Mutiu Agbuki, Commissioner of Police, Oyo State Command, Abimbola Olubenga, and the former President, Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ, Prince Lanre Ogundipe, at an election sensitization lecture organized by the Nigeria Union of Journalists, NUJ Tribune Chapel in Ibadan. Staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi was there to bring the details.
The program brought together media practitioners and key stakeholders to examine the role of journalism in promoting peaceful elections, combating misinformation, and strengthening democratic institutions. Presenting a paper on combating election misinformation and disinformation, the resident electoral commissioner, INEC Ondo State, Dr. Mutiu Agbuki, stated that misinformation remains a documented challenge to Nigeria's electoral process, warning that the speed and reach of social media make verification more important than ever. Dr. Agbuki recommended sustained fact-checking partnerships, early public awareness campaigns, media and information literacy, accessible verification channels, and rapid response communication by electoral bodies. He also called for stronger collaboration among INEC, journalists, fact-checkers, technology companies, civil society, and citizens to tackle increasingly sophisticated false content, including AI-generated material.
Media and information literacy should become a permanent feature of civic education, taught through schools, university, and community. As journalists.
Speaking on covering election violence and conflict responsibly, the Oyo State Commissioner of Police, CP Abimbola Olubenga, urged journalists to report security incidents without inflaming tensions. He advised reporters to apply the stop, check, report principle. Stop before publishing sensational claims, check fast through credible sources, and report verified information fairly and without inflammatory language. The police commissioner stressed that the police and media are not adversaries, but partners with a shared responsibility to protect the public interest, promote peace, and build confidence in democratic institutions.
For future elections, I urge journalists to remain committed to accuracy, fairness, independence, professionalism, and complete sensitive reporting. Let us ensure that in our effort to report the truth, we do not unintentionally become participants in conflict with our reporting.
In his paper, former NUJ President and Public Affairs Analyst Lanre Ogundipe, represented by the head Department of Mass Communication, Adeseun Ogundoyin Polytechnic, Irua, Dr. Olumide Adediji, described journalism as a constitutional responsibility and a public trust. He urged journalists never to allow speed, popularity, or personal conviction to undermine accuracy and professional judgment. He described the journalist as a constitutional sentinel who watches over the exercise of public power, records of history, and defends informed citizenship.
Without bias, and we must note that we must not favor a particular political party. When we do that, we must realize that we are betting the death of our medium.
Earlier in her welcome remarks, the chairperson of NUJ Tribune Chapel, Bumi Ishola, said the sensitization was designed to prepare journalists for the enormous responsibility of election reporting ahead of 2027. She urged practitioners to resist publishing information simply because it is trending or favors a political interest, stressing that truth and public interest must remain the media's first responsibility. The program, graced by the leadership of NUJ in Oyo State, led by the chairman, Comrade Akim Abbas, ended with the presentation of recognition plaques to the invited speakers and featured an interactive session wherein participants had an opportunity to engage the speakers on election security, misinformation, and professional standards in election reporting. Adebayo Abdurrafi, BCOS News.
You're watching news around the world on BCOS television. We have a short commercial break. Please stay tuned.
If you feel the body, you can pray for me. I'm not gonna move our body dangerously. You done make my heart go. Body and soul. Eyes do they go. Eyes do they go. Oh yeah. Make with us now. Yes, yeah.
Morning, everyone. Here's to the top day. Here's to living the creamy and delicious life.
We go dance until the morning light. Everything is feeling right tonight. Baby.
Top day with Top Cafe.
Welcome back. The Oyo State Acting Governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, has called for the enactment and effective implementation of laws that protect the rights and welfare of children who come into conflict with the law, particularly those who commit offences out of ignorance. Barrister Lawal made the call while speaking at an inaugural lecture titled Children in the Cage, Justice on Trial, delivered by Professor Maryam Abdulrahim Mustafa of the Department of Public Law, University of Ilorin. The Governor's Office correspondent Olalekan Sulaiman presents details.
The Oyo State Acting Governor, Barrister Bayo Lawal, was among dignitaries who attended the 305th inaugural lecture of the University of Ilorin, delivered by Professor Maryam Abdulrahim Mustafa of Department of Public Law. The lecture held at the University Auditorium was titled Children in the Cage, Justice on Trial. Speaking with BCOS News shortly after the event, Barrister Lawal stressed the need for a justice system that does not merely punish children for their actions, but also protect their welfare, rehabilitate them, and provide them with opportunities to become responsible members of the society. He commended Professor Abdulrahim Mustafa for the depth of her presentation, describing the lecture as relevant to the protection and rehabilitation of children who come into conflict with the law.
There's a gap between welfare of children and where the law places them. And this lecture, attempts to close that gap in the sense that we must not look at deficiencies of children only by what the law prescribes, but what we should do to enhance good living of our children by providing law that will protect their welfare, even where they probably go wrong. The law should direct positively so that they will live a meaningful life.
The acting governor also urged her to further strengthen a foundation dedicated to caring for vulnerable children, saying such efforts will help them overcome their challenges and live meaningful lives despite their shortcomings or conflicts with the law.
She has founded a foundation taking care of children and vulnerable children at that. So she can only pursue along that trajectory so that our children would have meaningful life. In spite of a deficiency in the law, that will complement positively so that the living standard of our children, both in law and social living, will be better.
And in our lecture, Professor Miriam Abdurrahim Mustafa stressed that children who came into conflict with law should be held accountable in manner that recognizes their vulnerability, developmental stage, and need for protection, rather than being subjected to the same justice system designed for adults.
No child should be detained with adults. Less legislation and reliable age determination will become justice priorities. Schools, religious bodies, traditional institutions, NGOs, and professional associations should place local protection and reintegration networks. Nigeria should establish a national child justice database, tracking arrest, detention, diversion, trial delay, release, and reoffending.
She however called for a uniform and child-centered justice system across Nigeria, with the Child Rights Act harmonized and minimum protections guaranteed in every state. On the entourage of the acting governor, while the State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Oluwaserimi Ajetumobi, Commissioner for Trade, Industry, Investment and Cooperatives, Professor Saliu Adelabu, Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Inclusion, Alhaja Fausat Jokesani. Also present was Alepata of Igbo land, Obajuel Olawuwo Olalekan Sulaiman. BCOS News.
The Nigeria Police Force, Oyo State Command, has lauded the state government for its generous assistance to the command in its effort at combating crime. The public relations officer of the State Police Command, DSP Olushola Ayolade, gave the commendation while answering questions on the BCOS Yoruba Current Affairs Program, Orotun Law. Our man, Bode Akinjola, compiled excerpts from the Live Radio Network program, but his report is presented by Bimbo Akombi.
The Oyo State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Olushola Ayolade, addressed the matter of insecurity and pockets of crime in Oyo State, and it took the center stage on the BCOS Current Affairs Live Radio Network program, Orotun. Featuring on the program, the State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Olushola Ayolade, stated that gone were the days that the identity of whistleblowers would be compromised. DSP Ayolade added that adequate and prompt information remains key to safeguarding the society.
The relationship between the Oyo State Police Command and the good people of Oyo State is now at its best. So that in itself is responsible for the successes we've recorded in the past few months. In blowing the whistle, it is a civic responsibility of a citizen to say things that can help in ensuring safety of lives and property. And I will tell you, anybody that is willing to give information, the Nigerian Police Force, Oyo State Police Command, is willing and will forever be grateful and, of course, to protect such individuals and ensuring that the identity is kept safe and their safety.
On the collaboration with the Oyo State government, the state police spokesman said the Sheikh Makinde-led administration has supported the command with logistics such as utility vehicles and motorbikes, which has made it easy to get to the hinterlands to smoke out criminals from their hideouts throughout the state. Speaking on the de-escalation of crime rates in the state, DSP Ayolade said the new Commissioner of Police, CP Ayodeji Olubenga Bimbola, has zero tolerance for crime.
The Nigerian Police Force, Oyo State Police Command, through credible intelligence, we've been able to apprehend some very highly notorious suspects, armed robbery suspects, some of them have been in the business of robbing unsuspecting member of the public. Like the two other young men that were paraded a few days ago, the investigation revealed that they've robbed or collected not less than 86 motorcycles, amounting to over 34 million naira. Another suspect were paraded who are also in the business of robbing unsuspecting Nigerians of their vehicles and their valuables. Cases like that. In recent times, arrests have been made of about 9 individuals who were fond of, who were part of richer syndicates, perpetrating, using human parts to carry out whatsoever rituals they are doing. So all these successes are part and parcel of the collaborative effort of this command and the good people of Oyo State.
The PPRO called on the people of Oyo State to have confidence in the police and give information that can help them function optimally. He urged communities to prioritize and strengthen early warning signals in addressing all manner of insecurity. The police is still saying, when you see something, say something to the police and other security agencies.
All right, we have yet another time out. Please don't go anywhere.
Our bodies get serums, washes, lotions, cleansers, scrubs, but underarms only get deodorant? That's why our new breakthrough formula contains pure hyaluron and vitamin C to deeply care for your underarms for a softer and even skin tone in 2 weeks. With 72-hour sweat and odor protection, try the new Nivea Derma Control Natural Tone because your underarms deserve more. Nivea is for skin.
Glad to know you're still there. Good health, they say, is greatly influenced by by what people consume daily. Although Nigeria remains one of the world's leading producers of cocoa, many Nigerians are still unaware of its numerous health benefits embedded in the natural product. Our reporter, Oyeshilo Loyede, who spoke with experts on why cocoa deserves greater attention in Nigeria, now reports.
Despite Nigeria's status as a major cocoa producing nation, experts says the country has yet to fully harness the health and economic potential of cocoa consumption. The head of the Department of Food Technology, University of Ibadan, Professor Gibson Arueya, explained that natural cocoa powder contains flavonoids and flavonoids, compound known to help the body fight harmful free radicals associated with diseases and aging. He noted that while different cocoa-based products are available in the market, dark chocolate and natural cocoa powder provide greater health benefits than heavier processed sugary cocoa drinks.
When people age, when people fall sick, or when people grow white hair, more often than not is because of the generation of free radicals in the body system, beyond what our bodies can cope with. So in the presence of flavonoids that are rich in cocoa powder, these free radicals are removed from our body, they are mopped up. So the tendency for people to fall sick easily, the tendency for people to age very quickly becomes reduced because they will consume cocoa powder, natural cocoa powder on a regular basis.
The acting executive director of the Cocoa Research Institute of Nigeria, Abiodun Adedeji, highlighted some of the nutritional and health benefits of cocoa. According to him, research has shown that cocoa helps build libido in men and also aids in lowering blood pressure. Dr. Adedeji encouraged Nigerians not only to consume cocoa in the form of drinks and chocolates, but also to cultivate the cash crop for economic benefits. He further revealed that the era when cocoa requires a minimum of 5 years to mature is gone, noting that improved varieties now grow faster and yield better results.
If I'm AA and I've normally fell sick with malaria, if I am consuming cocoa powder as drinks, it will strengthen my ability to resist the presence of a plasmodium in my blood, and I will not be falling sick easily to malaria. And if someone is having BP, high blood pressure, if you are taking cocoa products, it will regulate your blood pressure. If someone is diabetic, it will manage it.
Professor Arueya also expressed concern over low level of local cocoa processing in Nigeria, attributing the challenge to poor government policies, high production costs, and inadequate public awareness.
If the government is to ensure that, yes, people get the benefits from consumption of cocoa, then they will put policies in place that encourage the processing of cocoa into products that we can consume locally, like some companies that produce cocoa powder. But how many of them? There are very few. And when you ask why, sometimes they complain of excessive taxation, sometimes they complain of power and things like that. So there's not much encouragement from the government for these entrepreneurs to come in and become processors.
The experts called for greater awareness on the importance of cocoa consumption, stressing that embracing healthier cocoa products could help reduce healthcare costs and improve the quality of lives of Nigerians. Oyeshile Oloyede, BCOS News.
Hypertension, commonly known as high blood pressure, is no longer a condition affecting only older adults. Health experts say an increasing number of young people are now being diagnosed with the condition, largely due to unhealthy lifestyle choices, raising concerns about the need for greater awareness, early detection, and prevention. Our reporter, Bimbola Shawande, examines the factors behind the growing trend and the steps needed to reverse it.
Cases of hypertension among young adults are on the rise, prompting concerns among health professionals who warn that unhealthy lifestyle habits are putting many at risk. Medical experts identify poor eating habits, physical inactivity, stress, and inadequate sleep as some of the major factors contributing to the increasing prevalence of the condition. Medical experts identify poor eating habits, physical inactivity, stress, and inadequate sleep as some of the major factors contributing to the increasing prevalence of the condition. A professional nurse, Mrs. Odekunle Christiana, attributed the growing incidence of hypertension among young adults to unhealthy lifestyles, poor nutrition, lack of regular exercise, stress, insufficient sleep, and hereditary factors. She explained that excessive consumption of processed foods coupled with prolonged use of mobile phones that often deprives young people of adequate rest further increases the risk of developing high blood pressure.
All these food that are processed food, and with all that, what they know is from where they are going to where they are coming back. No exercise, no nothing. Then there are all these foods that we call junks or diets that are not proper or really good for the body. They were at the same time now went ahead and do a lot of job, but their strength will not be able to cope with. Not because they want quick money, they want it as fast as possible. That leads them to sleepless nights. They will not sleep. We will see them. This new thing that God has given us, phone, that's supposed to be an advantage, is becoming a disadvantage to our youth. Because once they hold it, they can spend the whole nights on phone. So they will now have some of them, when they are having headache, they will still be coping.
Mrs. Odekunle identified persistent headaches, dizziness,